Ever, man. Let's go. Come on. It's forever. No surrender. Yeah. You know that this right here forever. Go. And there will be no surrender.
Definitely.
Come on, brother.
Definitely.
Well, Nate, if you're saying you've got your own top 5 right in your head, go ahead and drop it.
All right. Number 1, Spider-Man 3.
Sorry.
Number 2, Black Widow. Number 3,
Go would make some more dirty faces and dirty looks and shit. Like that, I could give it a 6.5.
She's got a whole series to give, tons of dirty faces coming up.
Well, we've only gotten 17,000 different scowls so far. So I mean, you know,
I mean, I will give it if I had to score it to be a 5 for me, because like I said, it's had its moments, but for the most part, like I said, it's been blah.
Well, listen, I would have given it a 7.5 if when Echo's dad died, if instead of reaching up for her face to touch her or whatever, he reached out and grabbed her titty. That would have been dope.
See, this show has so many homages to that Matt Fraction comic, and that's what I love most about it.
I love looking at the 3x3 guests right there, right, folks? And look at the contrast, right? You've got Gunnar that just like is oblivious to what I said because he's hung out and does so many shows with me and whatnot. He doesn't even react anymore to some of the shit I say. You've got Andrew, my boy over on the Pacific Coast and shit and whatnot, that is like him and I are tight as fuck, but he's a totally different dude than I am. And like, you know, and he doesn't, and he don't get down with a lot of the shitty humor, the sexual humor and shit I use and whatnot. But either way, though, even he is like shocked, right? And then fucking my other guests and whatnot, and everything is just laughing. But yes, I do think that scene would have been better if the father would have grabbed Echo's titty, but that's neither here nor there. This is, of course, the MCU'S Bleeding Edge YouTube channel and podcast. Oh my God, I actually forgot about him. Cyberneticshark, my co-host.
Forgot about me? I see how it is.
What happened? What did were you there and I didn't bring you in?
No, I just came in now.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go, folks. Cyber is so cool and whatnot and everything. He comes in late. He likes to make an entrance. So, anyways, folks, there's my loyal veteran content creator, YouTuber Cyberneticshark, my co-host. Shark, we have a special guest. We have Ryan Mear on the fucking show tonight, man.
What's up, guys?
The celebrity reactor. Like, you know what I'm saying? That fucking, like, you know, reacts to all the same, like, dope-ass, like, Japanese, like, rock music I like.
Oh. Yeah, I'm well known in a corner of a genre of a corner of a genre. But I love it.
Well, you're a name. What were you doing in New York, Mear? A couple, whatever it was, a couple months ago when I talked to you and whatnot. Were you doing something for business or?
I was just, I went to, well, I mean, New York was one of them. I went to 6 different Bandmade shows. I went to LA, DC, Philly, Boston, New York, and Chicago.
Wow.
And in New York, yeah, we got to go in before the show and see sound check and shit. The Gaijin guys, me and Alan did. So it was a pretty incredible day. So
did you buy all those plane tickets with your YouTube income?
That helps, yeah. Well, YouTube didn't give me shit. It's Patreon and fucking
I got you.
T-shirts, man.
I'm joking, man. I'm joking, man. I'm joking.
But yeah,
but no.
All the money I get from any of that goes right back to fucking Band-Aid, dude.
Well, hey, listen, that just shows your dedication right there, man. 6 fucking shows, dude. Holy shit. And it must have been cool to check out all those different cities and whatnot and everything, too. But I showed you. You saw the bill, right, where I'm going. Cyber might go with me, too. In Daytona Beach. Did you see that I sent you the festival I'm going to go to where Bandmaid's playing?
Which one is that? The Rock on... What the fuck is it?
It's one of the... It's a typical, like, festival name. It's like Rock
on something, yeah.
Yeah.
They got what, two or three more festivals, and then all the dates they just added.
Yeah, no, I knew that they would come back for 2023. But anyways, folks, Cyber, Ryan Mear, I've been trying to get him on the show forever, for like 3 years or whatever and whatnot. So he finally decided to come on. Thank you, Ryan. Ben's back.
Yeah, no problem, man.
When we cover DCU and DC, Ben comes on. It's good to see you, Ben. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, brother. How are you?
Good, man. You ready to talk some fucking Gunn, Safron, DC, Slate fucking shit?
Oh yeah, of course.
Let's get it.
Every day.
Gunnar,
All right.
how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. It's good to be back.
Hey,
It's been
you know
a while.
what?
It's been a while.
I like your avatar too, man. Very creative.
I'm
You know what I'm saying?
driving.
Okay. Yeah.
I've never taken my camera off, but I'm actually driving. You got me at a good time.
Well, you're no Shakespeare
so
when it comes to
frickin'
fucking
busy.
when it comes to avatars, man. You're no Shakespeare, bro. That's all I can tell you. No, actually, Gunnar, you know what? I actually prefer you as video, bro, because I like to see your face, man. You're such a nice guy.
Well, I'm
But,
actually naked driving right now.
Ah, you know what? That wouldn't surprise me, Gunnar. That would
You
not
don't want to
shock
fall
me.
asleep driving. If you're naked, you're not going to fall asleep.
Cyber, we haven't had Gunnar in the show, what, like 7 months?
Something like that.
Yeah. It's been that long, I think. Holy shit. Yeah, it is good to have you back, Gunnar. So anyways, before we go into before I actually play the whole gun thing, the 6-minute gun thing, I'll start with you, Mear, and then I'll just go around. I'll go to you, Gunnar, Cyber, to Ben. What was your initial take when you saw the video and what Gunn said and whatnot? I'm talking about right after, like, you know what I'm saying? Before you watched any breakdown videos or like read any articles or whatever, like, what was your take?
I'll be honest with you, I haven't even watched the whole video.
Ah, man.
I've heard about it, and I got an idea what's going on. I just know kind of where it's been and what I'd like to see, and
Mear, that's fine. We're gonna play it in just a minute anyway. No,
cool,
that's fine.
That's good. Then I'll be up to speed.
Yeah, Gunnar, what did you think when you saw it? Gunnar, are you jerking off or something now, or what? Anyways, we lost Gunnar. Cyber, can you stop? Oh, he's here. Gunnar, are you here?
Yeah. Can I hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What did you think when you saw the Gunn announcement?
I mean, I had mixed emotions because, like, a part of it was really excited about some of the projects, and then the other half, it's like, man, I don't know that I want to start all over again from the beginning. I mean, we already put so much time in already, and I feel like I'm not getting paid out for the time I put in already, and I feel like, I mean, I have faith in James Gunn 1,000%. I have very little faith in Warner Brothers. I feel like if the first 2 movies bomb, they're going to scrap everything. So I'm trying not to get too excited about it.
See, wait a minute, though. Actually, I think that's important. Ben and Cyber, do you want to react to that? I don't know if I agree with Gunnar on that. I think, and I'm echoing on your end, I think, Gunnar. But I don't think I agree with him on that. I think Warner Brothers and Discover will stick with Gunn. They won't. What they came up with, it'll play out.
They've not stuck with anything yet, though.
Yeah.
They gave up on the DCEU. They gave up on so much stuff right now that I just have no faith that they'll stick with it.
Well, what do you think, Cyber?
I get where Gunnar's coming from because I totally agree. Like, Warner Brothers has been all over the place when it comes to the DC. And, unfortunately, they haven't stuck to anybody since they had. I mean, because before Gunn and Safron came in, think about it. They had that one gentleman that was the CEO or whatever. They got rid of him after a month. And then they had another guy right before him that was only there for like a couple months too. So Warner Brothers has kind of this repetitive action where they only have certain people in for so long. And it's probably, I think what the main problem is that they have a certain vision when they come in, and then Warner Brothers doesn't like it, and they don't see it with dollar signs in front of them. And so I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of these people are not in there for very long. At the same time, when it comes to Gunn, I most definitely think that he'll be there a little bit longer than the predecessors, most definitely because of how successfully he's been with the Guardians of the Galaxy, how well the Suicide Squad film did, how well, Peacemaker did. So I feel he's kind of on a better track than the other guys. But I can see where Gunner's totally coming from in that, it is a very situation where you're like, I don't know where this is going to go. I'm not sure how I feel about this. I have mixed emotions and so forth. I totally get where he's coming from. Because when I saw this video, after he went through all the things that they were deciding they were going to do, I was like, there's some of these things that I'm interested in. There's some of these things I'm not. I'm not happy that Cavill's out and so forth because they had just said he was back in. And that to me, as a fan, or even as a person that's a part of, like, say, their production company or something, that would annoy me. That would be like, you guys need to make up your mind. So I totally see where Gunner's coming from, but at the same time, I can see Gunn maybe lasting a little bit longer than these other guys.
Ben, do you think that they'll give that basically that Warner Brothers Discovery will back Gunn, Safron, and let them go ahead and at least pull off Gods and Monsters all the way through, and that I think they will.
I think they will too. I mean, based off of like the Suicide Squad movie, Peacemaker, I think they'll give Gunn at least a solid chance going through the first iteration of this new universe that he's going to build. I mean, I like Gunn, especially starting over in the MCU with Guardians of the Galaxy, and now moving on to DC with. I really love the second Suicide Squad movie, and I love Peacemaker. So I mean, I think they're going to definitely stick with him at least through the first one, if not longer. So to your point, Cyber, I think they're really going to stick with Gunn on this one, and at least attempt to give us some ability in the DCU.
Right. I'll come back in and make it look like I know a little bit about something, right?
Go ahead.
So to all these points are good points. I think DC pretty much, they don't have a choice, man. They have to stick with somebody. Because if they start doing the same shit they did, which it would surprise me if they did, but if they do, I think it's just they just have to give up. They got to stick with something, man. Because they did this whole game of fucking around and being like, trying to make their shit like Marvel, which wasn't ever going to work. And when that failed, they went the other way. And then it didn't get exactly what they wanted, so they chopped that shit up. And it's a nightmare. It's a fucking clusterfuck. So, yeah, they got to stick with somebody. Somebody there has to be like, look, we need to take a vision and we got to let it play out. Because if you don't let any idea play out, then it's always incomplete. And that's nobody's going to stick around for that shit anymore.
Gunnar, listen, we're echoing bad off you. Drop off StreamYard and come back in. Okay. Anyways, no, Mear, I get what you're saying, and see that would you not agree with me that maybe it would be important for them to follow through with this whole Gods and Monsters thing to prove to the DC fandom that that hey, we will stick to something, right?
Yeah,
like
we are going to let the people they hired do what they do and just stay the fuck out of it.
Well, if they're trying to basically, I mean, they said flat out right off the bat that like they're trying to basically copy the MCU formula, right? Gunn's basically the Feige.
Starting over, sure, but when you already have something in process, between with a certain vision, then you try and switch directions and follow somebody else's flow. That's why it just fell apart. I mean, we know what happened with the Justice League and how it was supposed to be and what we saw initially, and it's a fucking disaster. So if they would have stuck with what they had going, they would have had a cohesive kind of universe going on, but they just shot it to pieces.
Now, Cyberneticshark, again, before we play this Gunn thing, what do you think about the fact that they're still going to go ahead and have Shazam 2 come out, right? As a outside of the DCU film, right? They're still going to go ahead and have Joker 2 come out on its own. It's going to be outside of the actual canon, okay? They're going to have the Batman 2 with Pattinson, but it's not going to be a part of the new DCU. Do you think that's a positive thing, or is that just more fucking complication?
I mean, I don't think it's a complication, but at the same time, when you have all these different universes, it could come into good effect if you decide to do like a multiversal thing, such as Flashpoint. which is going to be happening with, the Flash movie when it comes out in June. So, I mean, in essence, it's not really a huge deal. But at the same time, if you're going to make a whole other universe out of these universes, you got to have a strategy and a time frame that all interconnects in some sort of way. So hopefully they have that idea planned out. But I mean, the Joker films, the Batman films that are in their own universes, and then of course the Shazam series is supposed to be in their own universe and stuff like that. I think that only came about because they decided to scrap the Snyderverse. And the whole Snyderverse, if they had just let Zack Snyder do what he was initially going to do at the get-go, like what the Snyder Cut ended up being, I think that this would be a whole different ballgame if the Snyder Cut came out as what the Justice League came out in 2017 was. I think bringing in Whedon was the whole problem and what started this kind of escalating fall for DC down that road. Because, Whedon, he was familiar with Marvel at the time because he had done the first 2 Avenger films, and he was brought in to do this film. And he even said himself that he purposely, on the last Avengers film, tried to make it worse than the first film. And then he purposely said, too, in interviews after making Justice League, that he was trying to make DC worse than the Marvel Universe. So Whedon was just a bad idea to begin with. Great, creator of things and everything like that. Nothing against him on that. But he definitely did sabotage certain things that caused things to escalate to the situation they are. And because they keep trying to rechange things and do these offshoots and all this stuff, it really isn't helping Warner Brothers out. And I think that if Warner Brothers wants to be successful, they need to really ironclad themselves into one position. And if they could do that with Gunn, that will be a plus.
Well, I want to put it out there too that I don't know if y'all are aware of this, but I think this is interesting context, like as a sort of like on the exterior. HBO Max is doing a lot well financially from a prop standpoint than Disney Plus is and has been for a minute, right? How much DC is responsible for that? The DC content, I have no idea. But HBO Max, it says right here in fiercevideo.com, HBO Max drives 15.4% revenue spike at Warner Media in quarter 4 of 2022. Do you know that Disney Plus lost $1.5 billion, right, in the third quarter of 2022?
How do you fuck that up?
Do you understand that? Gunnar, did you know that they lost $1.5 billion? You there, Gunnar?
I did not know that. I'm here. I'm here.
Oh yeah, no, they
muted my phone. So
that's a lot of money, man. Holy shit.
Yeah, I mean, they're coming out with a lot. They're creating a lot of content, which I respect. And HBO also has the built-in fact that HBO is an actual channel. So when you buy HBO, when you subscribe to HBO Max, you're not only just getting the Warner Brothers exclusive content, you're also getting HBO's library, the stuff that they show on HBO, which is more than just Warner Brothers content. So, I mean, I think Warner Brothers is probably a better value. The HBO Go or HBO Max is probably a better value than Disney Plus. I think I prefer the stuff on Disney more than I prefer the stuff on HBO Max. But I'm not gonna lie, HBO Max is a good deal. I've watched it a lot.
I don't know. What do you think, Mear? Do you prefer HBO Max over Disney Plus?
Yeah, I definitely watch it a lot more. Disney, I mean, if you want Star Wars and Marvel, then fuck yeah, dude. You'd be there all day. If you want other stuff, you got to go somewhere else. HBO Max has a little bit of everything. There's a lot of different shows on there to watch.
Yeah. I think this is just an important question. I've just wondered about this. I think it's interesting to know where people are at with this stuff. Cyber, do you like HBO Max these days better than Disney Plus?
I wouldn't say I like either or better than the other because each of them have content I want to watch. So I mean, I think that each have good stuff and each have bad stuff. So I don't really see it as, in my eyes, I don't see it as a competition, whereas the business themselves do. But in my eyes, I find there's, about equal amounts of what I like and what I don't like on both platforms.
Okay. And that's fair. And at that point, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drop this video and whatnot and everything. That Mear, you're going to get the other extremely valuable half of the video that you never got the first time, brother.
Right.
This is going to change your
I
life,
saw
man.
a synopsis of what's going on, so I got an idea. But
Oh, you heard about Swamp Thing?
Yeah. I'm not completely oblivious to it. I just hadn't watched the whole video.
I know.
Let's check it out.
I like Gunn. I think Gunn it seems like good people.
It's an impossible.
Hey,
you can't please
I'm
everybody
James
with what
Gunn.
he's doing.
I'm the co-CEO of DC Studios.
Co-CEO.
So as many of you know, DC has been disconnected in film and television for a long time. And it's one of, our jobs, mine and Peter's, is to come in and make sure the DCU is connected in film, television, gaming, and animation. That the characters are consistent, played by the same actors, and it works within one story. And if something is outside of that, like Matt Reeves' Batman or Todd Phillips' Joker or Teen Titans Go, that it is clearly labeled as DC Elseworlds, outside of the mainstream DCU continuity. Now, Peter and I have gotten pretty lucky in terms of the 4 projects that are coming out over the next year. First, we have Shazam, Fury of the Gods. Shazam has always been off kind of in his own part of the DCU, so he connects very well. That moves directly into The Flash, a fantastic movie that I really love that resets the entire DC universe. Then to move into Blue Beetle, a fantastic film about a kid who's a marvelous part of the DCU, and then into Aquaman 2, which leads directly into our next few projects, which I'm going to tell you about now. So Peter and I, along with a group of very talented writers, have started to map out an 8 to 10 year plan of what DC Studios will be in film, television, and gaming. This first chapter is called Gods and Monsters. Now, this, what I'm about to tell you, is a part of the first chapter. It's not the entire first chapter. The first project is Creature Commandos. Creature Commandos is an animated series. I've written all the episodes. Something we're going to do that's a little bit different at DC is we're going to have characters move into animation, out of animation, usually having the same actor play their voice as who plays them in live action. The next project up is Waller. This is a story of Amanda Waller, played by Viola Davis. Viola Davis is going to team up with members of Team Peacemaker, and this is a story that's been created by Crystal Henry, who did Watchmen, and Jeremy Carver, who created the Doom Patrol. It is a fantastic story that's out of this world, and I can't wait for people to see it. Okay, next up is the big one, the true beginning of the DCU. This is called Superman Legacy. This is being written by me. I'm in the middle of it. I'm having a great time doing it, and Superman will be released into theaters July 11th, 2025. Okay, the next thing is a big premiere HBO television series called Lanterns. This is a story of a couple of Green Lanterns, John Stewart and Hal Jordan, and we have a few other Lanterns peppered in there, but this is really a terrestrial-based TV show, which is almost like True Detective with a couple of Green Lanterns who are space cops watching over Precinct Earth. In it, they discover a terrifying mystery that ties into our larger story of the DCU. Next is a big movie called The Authority. The Authority is a passion project of mine. It's based on the marvelous Wildstorm characters we are now bringing into the DCU and will interact with all of our primary DCU characters. The Authority are a group of superheroes who think the world is broken and they want to fix it by any means necessary. I think it's a very different look at superheroes. We're doing a television series called Paradise Lost.
They're like a
Paradise
DC
Lost
Thunderbolts.
is the story of Paradise Island, usually known as Themyscira, which is the birthplace of Wonder Woman. It's almost like Game of Thrones with Westeros, but with all of the inhabitants of Paradise Island. The introduction of the DCU's Batman is The Brave and the Bold. The Brave and the Bold is the story of Batman and his actual son, Damian Wayne. This is based on Grant Morrison's great comic book run. Damian Wayne is my favorite Robin. He's a little assassin who Batman tries to get in line. And so this is the story of the two of them and the beginning of sort of the Bat family in the DCU. Next up is a TV series called Booster Gold. Booster Gold is one of comics' really popular cult heroes. He is a fascinating guy. He's a loser from the future who uses future technology to come back to present day and become a superhero so that people will love him. It is basically the superhero story of imposter syndrome on an HBO Max series. One of my favorite comic book series from last year was Tom King's run on Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. And so we're going to turn that into a big science fiction epic film. Now, Superman is a guy who was sent to Earth and raised by loving parents, whereas Supergirl in this story, she is a character who was raised on a chunk of Krypton. She watched everybody around her perish in some terrible way. So she's a much more jaded character. And that brings me to Swamp Thing, the last thing we're going to talk about, a very dark horror story in the origins of the monster who is Swamp Thing. And although it's totally outside of the rest of the DCU, it will still feed into the rest of the stories. Anyway, those are the stories that I can tell you about right now. I've loved the DC characters since I was a child. They're incredibly important to me. I knew that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to do something very different. One of the things that's very important for me in all of these movies and TV series is that the director's vision and the vision of the writers and all of the creators is unique and something special. Storytelling is always king. That's all that matters to us. And I want to be true to those stories. I want to be true to you guys and really give you something different than you've ever seen before. Anyway, thank you, everybody. I appreciate you watching. I hope this was exciting for you because it's really exciting for me. And I can't wait to start to dive into these stories with you guys on this grand adventure. Thank you so much.
Now, I think that that's very important. I think it's very poignant. Going to you, Ben, that he mentions that they're going to focus on storytelling, right? That's going to be the focus. That's going to be the main focus of like what they're trying to do with Gods and Monsters is going to be storytelling, the story, you know, how they craft their stories. I think that, for instance, with like the first Justice League film is basically considered like complete fucking garbage, right?
Oh, yeah.
That was bad story, like a bad story writing, like essentially, right? That's why Snyder Cut was better.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, obviously, like, you know, I mean, he had time to like basically sketch what he was going to say and plan what he's going to say in that video. But Ben, what do you think about how he presented the slate like that in that video on YouTube and everything and whatnot?
I absolutely loved it. I think he was able to go in and break down what his vision is for each character and each story, which is honestly a lot better than even what we got with the original DCEU. We got Man of Steel, which I really liked. Like I love Man of Steel. It was great. And then things started to get muddy with Batman versus Superman, which is another movie I really enjoy. But and then after that, it just got worse and worse with that first Justice League. I don't know if you can even call it a movie. And then it was kind of brought back with the Snyder Cut. But even then, with all these other movies, it just felt like there was no continuity. There's no connection. With these, you can with this slate and how he presented it, there's going to be continuity. There's already a continuity to it, and we have stability in the DCU finally. So it's a sigh of relief for me as a DC fan, like a big DC fan, and I'm super excited. And it was beautiful how he laid it out.
Oh, well, I mean, what if Gunn ends up somehow connecting with Tyrone Biggins, right?
Mm-hmm.
And and ends up going to one of those 500,000 free crack parties or whatever and whatnot, and the whole thing falls apart, man. You never know.
Hey, I'm optimistic, but I mean, I'm also prepared for the worst.
I'm optimistic too.
Hope for the best, but prepare for the worst kind of thing.
Just like I am for Ant-Man 3. Yes, I did not go see Ant-Man 3 last night, but I actually am sick for once. I am. I've got an infection in my gums. So like, I'm a wounded warrior tonight, brother. I'm not feeling very well. I'm kind of ill.
Sorry to hear that.
No, that's all right. I have a whatever it's called. I forget what it's called, the term. Either way, Gunnar, what do you think? I mean, you watched that video before. Do you like how they're going about this? How they're going to do animated stuff. They're going to do actual live action films. They're going to do live action series. We're going to have animated series from them, right? we all know that like DC's known for its animated films, right? We just started reviewing them recently, which I told Ryan about earlier. Ben knows that. Gunnar, you know that.
Yeah.
Do you like that mix, Gunnar?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, I'm all for putting as much content out as possible, and I think doing animated helps with that. Like I was at dinner tonight with a friend of mine, and we're talking about Star Wars, the Shadows of the Empire novel, if you guys know what that is, which was a novel that was a multimedia project. They had video games, comics, books, all this stuff. And I said, you know what, I'd love for Disney Plus to make a Shadows of the Empire series. I'd like it to be animated because you don't have to recast. You just redo the voice. And heck, Mark Hamill can probably do Han Solo and Luke Skywalker. But I like the idea of animated because it gives you those characters that much longer. And even if you have to revoice, like on say What If, not to bring it back to Marvel, but they recasted a lot of those voices, and it didn't take me out of it that much. So I'm fine, and it sounds like they're going to plan on using the same actors as the voice actors. So yeah. I'm all for the animated, and I'm really looking forward to Swamp Thing. I think that's the thing I'm most looking forward to. That was announced. You didn't ask me that question, but I'm gonna throw that out there.
We're gonna talk about Swamp Thing and Gunnar. Yeah, I'll tell you right now. After I watched those 3 Star Wars films back in the early 2000s, I definitely wanted to invest in that fucking book, bro. With Jar Jar Binks and everything and whatnot and all that. Yeah. Anyways, Mear, what do you think, man? Do you like the direction that they're going with this mix, the mixture of like these different types of content? And like Gunnar said, they are planning on crossing over and having some of this animated stuff, like then be live action as well, right? And have some of the same voice actors actually act and play the roles in the live action.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. It's a good idea to start with. I think one thing they're doing smart is keeping the Elseworlds aspect. I mean, it works for the comics, right? The Elseworlds comics are pretty successful when it's a good story. It's a good story. You don't have to worry about if it affects a story from 30 years ago or whatever, which they're resetting everything anyway. So I like that because they know they have 2 really good movies. They're going to bring people back and they don't have to fuck with fitting it into anything. Keep the shit separate. Let them do what they do, which is something they wouldn't have done before. It's kind of weird that some characters they're getting rid of, some they're keeping involved with everything, and some, from the Snyderverse, like with Waller and all that, is still the same person, same character, going to be involved with the continuity, but some are not. Hopefully they'll just fucking work that out. I don't like waiting for a movie in like 2 years. Superman Lakes is going to be out in 2 years. I'm like, okay. So then you got to hear about it for 2 years and all the speculation, all that bullshit. I do miss hearing about a movie and then going to see it and see what it was about instead of knowing everything about it beforehand. But that time is gone.
Gunn, if Mear, if Gunn doesn't do that Suicide Squad film, right? Do they end up doing Waller?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it'd be kind of silly to not do it.
Oh no, it
well.
would be. No, she. What is it? Cyber, hasn't she won like multiple Emmys or whatever and whatnot and everything? Hasn't she been nominated for like an Academy Award before? Viola Davis?
Yeah.
No, she's very yeah. Oh no, she's outstanding. I'm looking. That's honestly out of everything that they have. And Cyber, you can tell me if you're on the same page with me. The Waller series to me is probably out of, like what I would consider the top 3 out of what would be the best out of what they gave from the slate. Like I think that'll be a great show if it's tied into Peacemaker or whatnot. And it's I don't know what the hell that was. Anyways, but no, Cyber. Of course, other than Swamp Thing, was there anything? Now you and I are not massive DC comic fans. I'll tell you right now, I had no fucking idea what those fucking commandos or whatever were, or whatever he first mentioned them.
Shit either.
No, they're monsters or whatever, whatnot that fought the Nazis or some shit, I guess, in the comics back in the day. But I had no idea what the hell that is. But now, like the Lanterns, right? The Lanterns, the whole concept is going to be that supposedly that it's going to be a detective show, right? They're going to have 2 Green Lanterns. It's going to be Earth-based. There's going to be no space, no cosmic anything. It's going to be a detective Earth-based show with Green Lanterns. That's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like themed, typical, like similar to True Detective, right? Do you think something
there's
like
some other
that?
character that could do a detective show? What the fuck?
No.
Let's take
What do
the
you think,
space
Cyber?
police and stick them on Earth and make them detectives. What the fuck? we got the universe with the world's greatest detective, and we're not gonna utilize that.
I think it has a lot of potential. Cyber, what do you think? I like that whole the design, that concept.
I like the concept of it being like True Detective. That's an interesting concept with the lanterns. I mean, I just want Green Lantern, period, type of stuff. I did not hate the 2011 film. I loved it. I thought it was fun.
I didn't
thought they
think
did
it
a
was
good job.
near as bad as people made it out to be. Man.
Yeah.
Was it really 2011? Holy fuck.
Yeah, 2011. And I thought that it had a lot of great stuff that happened in it. I thought it had a lot of potential. I think that maybe Reynolds is way better as Deadpool than as a Green Lantern. So they could have changed that at least, given maybe a different person play the Green Lantern, Hal Jordan. But other than that, I thought it was a really solid film. So this is like, they really haven't done much with the Green Lantern, live action wise for a while. So it'd be nice to see the Green Lanterns in action. So I think that was a really solid idea. And to make it like a detective thing, I mean, it's kind of cool, but at the same time, who else is really more of a detective type of character? Batman, So like Green Lantern really isn't much of a. I don't feel they're detective. I mean, everything that they deal with is cosmic, kind of like being like over in Marvel, you have Guardians up in space. You had Thanos was more of a space-based creature, stuff like that. So I feel that the Green Lanterns are way more like a cosmic type of character. So I think that it's going to be interesting to see how they take a cosmic character and make them into a Earth-based, character in this series. So I think it'll be interesting. It should be, hopefully they cast some pretty good guys to play the characters and they have, a decent budget.
Ben, why don't you go ahead and talk about the Batman and Robin film that's going to be based off The Brave and the Bold?
Oh, that's. I mean, I'm really excited about that. Especially, it's going to be based off of Grant Morrison's run, where we first see Damian Wayne come into play, like with that whole relationship between Batman, Bruce Wayne, and Talia al Ghul, Ra's al Ghul's daughter. And I'm really excited to see how they're going to play that whole run out in this movie. And then also connecting it with like any of the animated stuff that they're going to do, because I'm a huge Batman nerd, and it's just going to be fun. I'm super excited for it.
By the way, speaking about animated, the last 2 nights I was telling Ben earlier, I've been watching the Wolverine and the X-Men animated series on Disney Plus. That shit's good as hell.
Nice.
I don't know if any of y'all ever watched it before, but it's really good. Wolverine basically leads the X-Men, like he's the leader and everything and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually really interesting. So Gunnar, now Gunnar, I can't remember how big of a DC fan you are. I can't remember, what your DC comic book knowledge is like. But I guess if you had to say, sort of, I guess out of the slate, like what would be maybe your top 3, things that you're most excited about, and then I'll go around with everybody on this. Well, I guess what would it be if you had to just throw something out there?
Well, I mean, Swamp Thing intrigues me. They've had some good comic runs on that. I'm not as familiar with DC as I am with Marvel, but I know that they had a pretty epic Swamp Thing run with Batman and everything. So I hope that I mean, I don't think that would be a good first film, but I'd like them to set that up. Waller didn't interest me until this watch. I mean, I've seen that clip a couple times, and I guess I missed before that it's going to have some of the Peacemaker characters in it. So, I mean, if this is a way to bring back Peacemaker's probably been my favorite thing DC has done since the Dark Knight trilogy.
They made it clear that it's a spin-off series off of Peacemaker.
Yeah. So having said that, that's definitely another thing that I'm really excited about. And if I got to give a third, Brave and the Bold. I mean, I'm always up for a good Batman movie, and maybe Superman. It all depends on how they do it. But I'd say those are probably for sure, the Waller, if it's a Peacemaker spinoff, and Swamp Thing, for sure.
Mear,
Yeah.
what do you think? You got a 3 or a 4, maybe a 5, something
3
out
things,
of that? Yeah,
3
yeah,
things I'm
yeah.
looking forward to from it.
It doesn't have to be 3. It's whatever. Just what are there 3 or 4?
The Blue Beetle, that could be really, really cool.
Hey, I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah, I think that can be really cool. I know the animated series I've seen with Blue Beetle. Here's the thing, though. It's going to be with Miguel, right? The newer stuff, because I like the old Blue Beetle too, which is a completely different thing. With Ted Cord, which I like the old comics like that. It was a whole different look at a hero who, no powers, whatever. But I know they're going to do the more recent one where it's all technical and gadgety and stuff. But that could be really cool, man. The Brave and the Bold could be cool too. That run of the comics is really good. I wonder how they're going to tie that in, if they tie it in with, when it's going to happen with Superman Legacy. Because there's a whole history there to establish Brave and the Bold. And if it's Superman younger, I don't know how that's going to turn out. But, he's got a plan. So we'll see what happens. Booster Gold could be interesting too. And that kind of, to me, Booster Gold and Blue Beetle, and then this iteration of it, they're not going to be probably together at all, but they were like buddies in the old DC days. Booster Gold and Blue Beetle, they like hung out, and they were always like the guys that the other Justice League's like, yeah, we don't need your help, we'll get it. So they're always kind of off on their own doing shit. So, but it's a character I didn't like at first, but I grew to like as I read more stories. So I don't know, man.
Well, if they're looking for connective tissue and they want to be more like the MCU, then I'm sure that stuff like that is going to be stuff that they're probably going to put in play.
Yeah.
It's
hard to tell. Because they're using different characters from different eras, and it's.
Well, that's the thing, right? He dropped that whole new DCU slate on us, right? But he never actually explained like how it's all going to connect, or like what it's going to actually like accomplish, like get to eventually, or whatever, or build up to. Right.
And Swamp Thing was I never followed really the Swamp Thing comics, but he popped up in many different character comics.
The animated
he'd pop
films.
up in Batman. He'd pop up in just various comics. I would see Swamp Thing pop up like, what the hell is this guy? So it's always cool. Like whenever he showed up, it was very poignant, and it was a no bullshit moment, and then he would just disappear like into the earth. So that could be a really cool way to tie some shit together too.
Yeah, he showed up the other night when I was outside getting stoned. He showed up for a minute and whatnot, and then he went in the earth.
Shit.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm talking about.
Anyways, but no, Ben, you probably got like 7 different shows or movies out of that list that you're like fanboying off of or whatever?
Definitely the Brave and the Bold. That's definitely like my number one.
You just like the saying Brave and the Bold.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like it rolls off the tongue real nice and easy. Brave and the Bold's my top. Swamp Thing would be my second because I've really enjoyed the comics. Like I love Alan Moore's series on him. The current comics are really good. To include like DC has a Black Label series that finally issue 2 came out this week. To that, it's a 3-part like little mini series that DC Black Label's doing, called Swamp Thing Green Hell. Really, really good. So really excited for Swamp Thing. And then honestly, I'm really excited to see what they do with Booster Gold. I've never really followed him in the comics, so I don't really know much about his backstory, but I've heard nothing but good things about Booster Gold. So I'm really excited to see what they do with Booster Gold.
Well, Cyber, I think that Gunnar makes a good point. The casting is very important, right? Like Booster Gold could be the best character in the world in the comics, but if they don't cast these characters correctly, right, then what difference does it make?
Right.
Most definitely. I agree there. You have to cast the right person to portray the character. Otherwise, that character gets lost. And if you put somebody in there that isn't good with that character, you're going to lose your audience. Hence why I think, one of the reasons why Green Lantern, like I mentioned earlier, did crappy is because they put Deadpool in Green Lantern, Hal Jordan. Because, Hal Jordan, he is kind of like, like a little bit like Deadpool is a little bit, but not to the extent that Deadpool is. So I think that, it was kind of a good idea, but I don't think he was right for that character. And so I think the same thing applies to any of this new casting and bringing into the fold any of these new characters that they're going to be casting. They really need to cast people that fit that bill very well and give us a really solid performance, from these characters, especially when you're first introducing them, from something we've never seen in live action form. You got to set that impression, and you want people to want to come back and want to watch this person. So I think that is very key.
Cyber, what would be your top 3 or 4? Like, what out of what Gunn gave us and whatnot during this, whole Slate deal, whatnot, really, I guess, is something that interests you?
Swamp Thing is definitely one of them. The Green Lanterns is another. The Commandos interest me a little bit. And what's the other one there? That's it's like a group of people there that he said that was going to stay in from cartoon to live action. The characters will stay the same. I thought there was another one that was like similar to the Commandos that he was talking about. I can't remember the name, but they interest me too. But other than that, everything else, the Superman movie does not interest me whatsoever. I already saw that in Smallville. And Smallville is timeless to me. I absolutely love Smallville. I think that show was fantastic. And the Supergirl movie might be interesting because we really, we haven't really had much of Supergirl except for the TV series they just did. And I don't think that did Supergirl justice, that series. Even though it was pretty decent, it was pretty fun, I don't think it gave Kara the justice she deserved. And so I'm interested in seeing another movie version of her versus the one that came out in '84, which I think was a fun movie. I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. But at the same time, it'd be interesting to just see them a new take on Supergirl too as well.
Okay. So go ahead, Ben.
Well, yeah, I have something on that too, especially with it being based off of Tom King's Supergirl. Tom King's one of my favorite comic writers, and I'm really excited to see what they can do with Tom King's content and putting it on the screen. It's going to be, I think, to your point, Cyber, it's going to be a really, really fun, interesting thing to see.
Excellent. All right. Well, so basically then, like, unanimously, everybody is fucking stoked for Swamp Thing. Like, that seems to be, like, I was just on another show and whatnot, right, with Danny over at DJB Productions Network and shit, and everybody on there agreed that, like, they were all stoked for Swamp Thing. So, Gunnar, what is it exactly about Swamp Thing that you're just like, Swamp Thing just stands right out to you?
I think it's original, and we haven't seen Swamp Thing on any type of media since the 80s.
Is it a nostalgic thing? Is it a nostalgic thing?
A little bit. And it's something that I think it's just different, I think the DCEU was pretty much the same movies, just plug in Flash instead of Batman, or plug in Aquaman instead of, it was nothing it's not like where Marvel got to the point where it was like they had loved people in space and people on other planets. So I think it's just gonna add another layer to what it is. And yeah, nostalgic, that's a big part of it as well.
Okay. What do you think, Ben? What is it about Swamp Thing that's so where everybody seems to be so enthusiastic about this concept of the Swamp Thing?
Well, Swamp Thing is kind of more the horror part of, like, the whole Justice League DC realm, and it's not as mainstream as a lot of, like, as the Batman and Superman. And I watched the TV show a little while back that only got one season. I really enjoyed, and because it's scary, it's different, and it just draws you in. I think that's why people are really starting to resonate with Swamp Thing, because you don't see much of him. Like, to Mear's point, like, he would just pop up in an animated series here or another animated movie here, and you didn't really see much of him. Now he's gonna have his own movie. Yeah, people are gonna hop all over Swamp Thing with that. If that makes sense.
No, most definitely. Mear, what is it for you with Swamp Thing or any of the series and whatnot that like really connects you deeply with it? Like,
The Swamp, like I said, I don't know. I mean, I know what I saw. The Swamp Thing is really good, and I think, you know, I don't know, man. It's just so different, and it's, you know, if they pay attention to what Alan Moore did with what he wrote, they should be okay. If they don't fuck with it too much.
Alan Moore,
because there was a version of Swamp Thing, and then they brought him in to kind of revamp the whole thing, and they made it more of a monster than a guy that was turned into a Swamp Thing. It's like what we're thinking of is what
Mear, why don't you explain really quick who you're talking about?
Alan Moore is just a brilliant freaking writer that's part of many stories, and I mean he's key in.
He did Watchmen, didn't he?
Yeah, let me look.
Yeah,
because he was involved in so many characters in so many.
He did Watchmen.
Like,
he did Watchmen, and
right.
And you know what? One of the writers that actually was a part of the creative process of that show too, is actually here. Her name is. Let me see. Let's see here. I believe is it the Waller series? Let me see. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
In the Waller series, right? Crystal Henry, who was a writer who was involved in the creative process and wrote for Watchmen, right? She's going to write Waller. Yeah, so no, no, go ahead.
John Constantine and Deadman and Spectre and just some. He wrote for everybody that had a great fucking story. Batman.
I love Constantine. I think his DC animated films are the best ones. I do. I love Constantine. I think I even heard I think I heard a rumor that they might even do another Constantine film with Keanu.
I've heard it yes and no, and the latest I saw is that yes, it's going to happen. So, you know, I'd be cool with that. I don't know a lot about. That's one thing I knew. I watched the movie before I read anything in the comics, so it didn't bother me how much shit they changed. I thought it was entertaining, which is what a movie's supposed to be to begin with.
No, I don't. I personally, I don't have a lot of DC animated experience. I don't. We've done 2 DC animated film reviews here on the Bleeding Edge, and I will say that I have now caught several of the films on HBO Max, but honestly, the ones with Swamp Thing, he's never in them very, very much when he comes in. Like when it's like, you know, for instance, I think the first one I ever watched was the one that came out in 2022, where basically Darkseid takes over Earth or whatever, whatnot, right? And like Superman has no powers. Yeah. Cyber, do you remember what I'm talking about? Ben, what is that one called?
I can't remember.
Shit.
In my head.
Either way, that was one where Superman's teamed up with Raven and Constantine and whatnot and everything, and like, you know, Lois Lane is like kind of a rebel, like a freedom fighter.
I know which one you're talking. It's like I want to say like Dark Worlds or something. It's one of the darker ones, but I can't remember.
Yeah, it's the one where the whole Justice League basically gets like slaughtered right from jump in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Either way, basically, the DC animated films are really good, and I love Constantine. Now, it's interesting that you mentioned Constantine, Mear, because he's not mentioned in any of that. Like, I mean, now you tell me, Mear, and then I'll go to you, Cyber. Of course, like they're going to be adding other characters into these shows. They've already said that they are going to try to build off of the main characters, the main, standard DC characters that they've always like based their stuff off of. Wonder Woman, Superman, Batman, right? And they're going to bounce, and they're going to extend them to other characters. So we know we're going to get other characters from DC Comics, from the DC universe, into these series. They're going to, that are going to that we don't know about. What is Mear? What out of the slate? What do you not like at all? Like, what do you think is going to be potentially garbage?
I don't see Authority or Paradise Lost actually happening. I think that, to me, for some reason, they just sound like things that were, hey, I need ideas, and it's like, yeah, that'll work, but I don't think I don't see them happening. It just seems like it's filler. Gods and Monsters got a solid story. Booster Gold, that name is catchy. I mean, it's a catchy thing for people to hear in their ear, and it's going to be, it sticks in your brain, so that'll be interesting. Brave and the Bold has got enough, even if you don't know what this story is going to be about, you're going to be familiar with the old comics or the old animated series, which has nothing to do with it, but it's going to pull people in. The funny thing is, none of us are talking about Shazam or Flash or Aquaman 2. It's like
Booster Gold does not really impress me as a name or whatnot. Like, if anything, like he'd be
but you're going to remember that name. Out of all these things that were listed, you're not going to remember Paradise Lost and Authority. You're going to be like, what was that list? Let's see. There's fucking Booster Gold, Gods and Monsters. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying it's gonna be remembered.
Ben, if you've got it, Ben, since you've got a dip, why don't you go ahead? Is there anything out of that slate that you think is just going to be straight garbage right now?
Not.
I mean, something out of that's going to be bad.
Of course it is. I mean,
nothing's happening soon.
I mean, I would say go off of what Mear was saying with Paradise Lost. That really has no appeal to me. Like, some of the more oddball ones, like, just don't really appeal to me. So we'll see. I'm optimistic for it all because I want it all to do well. But yeah, those Paradise Lost, the oddball, like, monsters, or I don't think
Creature Commandos.
Yeah. That just doesn't resonate with people. People don't know
if that ties in with Waller and Waller takes off, they might be able to pull it off.
Maybe we'll see. Fingers crossed, though, for sure.
Yeah.
No. And so also, Ben, since you got a dip, man. I know that you're tired and whatnot and everything. Listen, thanks for coming on, brother. We appreciate you joining us and whatnot and everything. And folks, as soon as Ben's able, hopefully by the time we get around to do a Mandalorian season 3, Ben told me that he's going to be more available and be able to come on and actually do whole shows and shit. So in the meantime, we'll take what we can get. Right? But thank you very much for coming on, Ben.
Hey, Jeff, thanks for the invite. And guys, it was great meeting y'all.
Nice to meet you, man.
Look forward to doing more shows, guys. You guys have a great night.
All right, brother. Take care.
Bye.
So, Gunnar, what do you think, man? Whether they end up making it or not, what do you think out of the slate is just like straight garbage from jump, possibly?
I mean, like, some of that stuff I'm not very familiar with, so I'll give it a chance, probably. I mean, again, my same problem with when Disney took over Star Wars. I felt like I lost more than I was getting back. So I'm really disappointed that Batman Beyond movie with Michael Keaton is never going to happen. I'm disappointed we're never going to see Zack Snyder's conclusion. But I mean, we got a lot of good stuff that was announced.
No, actually, you know what? I wanted to ask you guys that. I'll start with you, Gunnar, then I'll go to you, Cyber, then I'll go to you, Mear. Are you disappointed, Gunnar, that we're not going to get the actual second half of the Snyder Cut? What would have been the next phase or film where they would have actually taken on?
If you look at the Snyder Cut and the director's cut of Batman v Superman, I mean, that's like 37 hours worth of content that they gave us that I went emotionally into. I kind of want to see how it pay off, which is, again, another thing that makes me settle down and not have complete confidence that Warner Brothers is going to give James Gunn, Peter Safran, the chance to bring their vision. Those first two movies bomb. They're going to pull the plug right then and there. So,
they can't do us. They can't. They would never be able to allow them to continue with Snyder and like further on with that stuff and whatnot, with this new slate and everything and whatnot, it just wouldn't make any sense at all. They'd be competing with each other almost.
But they're keeping some of the
You got
characters.
one more Justice League movie. Give us that before you start everything over again.
Right.
No, go ahead, Mear.
Oh, I was just gonna say it, but they're keeping some of the characters that that came out of the Snyderverse are making new shit with them, which doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
You're gonna restart shit.
No, when I did my research, I saw several rumors that Gal Gadot might end up coming back. So,
Yeah.
Cyber, what do you think, man? What are your thoughts?
It's a make it or break it situation, I feel, right now for DC. And they really, like I said, they really have to pull themselves together, really. And, definitely they need to, in these first couple of films, really pull the audience back in to get their trust back in, to be able to reach that level of Marvel. Because even though Marvel, we all have, agreed, the majority of us said that, the last section of the MCU phase 4 was pretty much just crap because it was a rebuilding period. And so even with that, still people absolutely love the Marvel universe even with that rebuilding period. And so with DC, because there's never really been a cohesive tissue with it, people have so many different thoughts on what it could do and how it could play out. And so, for people that are very iffy, or those that, I'll give it a chance because I've never heard of these, or, I've never seen anything about this, or, they still are bringing the Flash, they're bringing the Blue Beetle, they're still, bringing at least some sort of Superman thing. You really got to bring them back and get them to want to enjoy this stuff. And so in order to do that, they have to give you really solid stuff in order to be able to do that. And, like we've said, Gunn is a very talented person. He is really good at what he does. And so hopefully he'll be able to do that with the slate that they're doing. Now, not everything in it, do I agree, will make it good for Warner Brothers and DC going on. But most definitely, I agree with what Mear said, how they keep bringing back these characters that they've already established and continuing their stories, but yet they're going to reboot it anyways. So that makes absolutely no sense. So yeah, they're making oddball decisions here, and that's not good to begin with. And that's why I say, well, let's see how long Gunn lasts. Let's see how long Safron lasts. I'm not giving them a time frame, but at the same time, don't be surprised if something happens if it does, because
if they can, the holdovers, if they can keep it and just lock it in how it is without changing more shit and just keep them, okay, here, we know they're from before, but this is what they are right fucking now, and lock it in instead of just fiddling around. Oh, well, let's go ahead and bring Henry Cavill back. He's got to be fucking gone forever now with all this bullshit, which doesn't make sense when he got 3 other ones that he was directly correlated with, like, worked with. So yeah, they got themselves, they're trying to make less of a mess, but they're still like holding on to some of the shit they're trying to run away from.
So Mear, going back to my original question though, like, I mean, what were your thoughts on the Snyder Cut? Like, do you feel let down that we're not going to get that second version, that second half?
Oh yeah,
a finality to it.
Yeah, I can. I was looking forward to Justice League like crazy. I liked the movies that came out before it, Superman, Batman v Superman, and issues with them, yes, but overall I liked them. So when I was coming out, I was really psyched for it. And I went and saw it, and I walked out of it like, what the fuck did I just watch? Because it was horrible. I was like, it couldn't have been that bad, but it was horrible. And then I found out what all happened with it, with the production, all that bullshit. So when this is the weird thing about DC, everybody raises a fit, get the push for the Snyder Cut, we get it, they give him money to finish it, then they're like, yeah, but fuck you, we're not doing it anymore. It's like, why do that? It was so good, and he proved with what his original vision would have made sense, and it came out to be a very good movie, even though it was longer than any other movie, but it worked. And the thing that would have made sense to me was like, all right, let's fucking do it. But they're just out of spite, like, yeah, fuck you. And then, that's when it all started to tumble down. They gave everybody, said, here, okay, we'll do it. And it comes out and it's great. And then they still just shot themselves in the foot. So yeah, I wanted to see the rest of it, man. Everybody thought there was going to be the rest of it when he's allowed to finish it, and it's great. And then they're like, yeah, we're not working with him anymore. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? Why? Why did you do that?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd like to see the nightmare world and all that stuff would be fucking cool, dude. And if that would have led on to, there's so many ways it could have went. It's just hopefully they can carry on it and stick with the plan.
No, it's unfortunate. I have a list. I have a list I do that I keep track of all the different stuff I've still got to watch. Older TV series and movies that I haven't watched that I have to watch. Like, for instance, all of the Marvel Netflix series I didn't watch. I still have to watch, right? Well, I have movies too. And one of the, a couple of the movies that are on my list, that are movies I want to review that I'd love to review. And Snyder Cut, Cyber will tell you, I told him many times, Snyder Cut is one of my top list ones of something I can't wait to review in 4 parts or whatever, just review each section. You know what I mean? Just because I think it would be fun. I love the Snyder Cut. I really enjoyed it. Now I'll tell you, now you tell me, go to you, Gunnar. As far as I'm concerned, the Amazonian series, right? That's based off of essentially the start of the Amazonian all-female culture or whatever, right? Before Wonder Woman's even born and shit. I think this is interesting because now, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to imply anything or whatnot and everything, or say that or say I know how they're going to handle it or whatever. I'm sure it could end up being pretty decent. But now, as far as I'm concerned, that show, Paradise Lost or whatever, if they were going to go woke with something, if they were going to inject some woke shit up into it, that would be the series to do it. That would be the vehicle to go woke, right? Now, so my question to you, Gunnar, is: do you think Gunn is the type, right, that will fuck with that woke shit?
I mean, there's been no real indication. I mean, Peacemaker said whatever the hell he wanted, and it was hilarious. So I don't see it. And anyway, you can do woke without being woke, like the first Wonder Woman film.
How?
I mean,
or you can just tell a story with a bunch of women.
Is it a magical spell? Like, how do you do that?
Well, like you can be pro-woman without being woke, without shoving it in your face, without shoving it down your throat. The first Wonder Woman, I mean, that was pretty much a pretty strong female.
I love that movie.
Yeah, character-led movie. I didn't feel that it was necessarily woke. I didn't feel like they shove it down our throat that there was strong women culture. They just made a show about a strong female. I mean, and not make it a show about a strong female. Hello, it's a strong female, So yeah, I mean, they don't have to be woke without getting that same message across.
Okay, Mear, do you get where I'm going with this? I'm just trying to make. I think this is interesting. Obviously, we know. I don't know. Mear's MCU fan. You're pretty consistent. You follow Marvel, right? Pretty consistently.
Yeah, it's for me. It was always a DC Comics guy. Then the Marvel movies are just undeniable. They were great films, so I enjoyed them. As far as wokeness goes, dude, I'm just waiting for when somebody can make a movie and just show people as equals, and it's not a big fucking deal. Like, so what? You know what I mean? Just like I get what Gunnar was saying. You could just make a good movie about an island full of women, and that's it. It's not trying to prove shit. It's just a cool story. I don't think we know when this is going to be made. It might not even be that type of show is popular anymore. So that's going to depend whether it gets made or not. If anybody's still wants to fucking watch Game of Thrones, I mean, you compare it to something that's already kind of over. I don't see the point really. So I don't know, man. I whatever. I'm just tired of people when you can quit pointing out that there is a woman lead or a gay lead or whatever. Then it's going to be finally like we're just cool with whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
which would be great. That's what I want. That's what I want.
Like
I don't want it to be a big deal. I want everybody to be like, right on. That's a fucking superhero. That's whatever, you know.
Well, you saw Wakanda Forever, right? Did you see the Predator in there and the Power Rangers?
The what?
The Predator was in Wakanda Forever and the Power Rangers.
No, I missed that.
Yeah, right. Cyber was it the Predator in there?
Yes, and the Power Rangers together. They just were
Beer, it's an inside
fantastic.
joke. It's an inside joke. The Ironheart chick in her armor, she looked like a Power Ranger. And then and then what's her name? The Durbalage chick, Okoye, right? When she got her suit, her armor, or whatever, with the helmet, she was like the fucking Predator. She did. So anyways, though, bottom line, yeah, which I thought was really interesting. I was like, holy shit! I told my son, I was like, wow, how'd they get the Predator up in this bitch? They got some serious work. They must have got Sarah Finn on that. You know what I'm saying? But no, honestly, the reality is, at the end of the day, that one of you guys can maybe tell me. I never even looked into it. Did Discovery buy Warner Brothers? Did Warner Brothers buy Discovery? Did they just merge? I know Warner Brothers has had financial difficulties or troubles in the past, last couple of years, or whatever and whatnot. I know they have. I've heard some of their economic stuff has not been so good. So they're not Disney, like Warner Brothers isn't, and that I think that could probably affect what a lot of you guys are saying in terms of the fact that they might not even get like a quarter of the way into Monsters and Gods and Monsters or whatever, because I mean, like I was saying earlier to Ben in the private conversation, right? Okay, so they went ahead and said that they're going to go ahead. They are still going to do the Pattinson, the Batman 2, right? The Matt Reeves Batman 2. You tell me, Gunnar, right? Normally, if you greenlight a second Batman film, you're going to do a trilogy usually, right? At that point, But the way that they basically said it is like they're just going to do the second film and that's it. It's done.
No, I don't think so. I think they'll keep going as long as they make money and as long as Pattinson's willing to do it. They'll continue to make them.
But it's going to be outside of the actual canon of the DCU. You don't think they're going to want to recast Batman?
No, you know what? They'll probably. I mean, we had Brave and the Bold. We already have Batman in the DCU.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot all about that. Yeah, that's right. That's true. That's true. So there will be two. There'll be what? There will be two Batmans at that point.
Hello, who was in Joker? Bruce Wayne. So we technically have three Batman.
Well, we're getting Keaton in the Flashpoint, right? Keaton's coming in the Flashpoint.
There you go. And Ben Affleck, 4 or 5 Batmans.
Oh, that's right. I forgot Affleck's in it too.
Cool. Yeah.
So then give us our Batman Beyond with Michael Keaton.
Please. Fuck, I would love that. That'd be so awesome.
That'd be so great.
He's the right. Just do it. You wouldn't have to CGI have him fight people. He would just be an old cranky fucking asshole who knows everything. It would be great. It would be perfect.
I would settle for George Clooney as Batman and Batman Beyond. Just give me a Batman Beyond.
What?
That's such a great cartoon. I don't care. Just give me that. Give me
all right, you lost me.
Movie of the
you would settle for George Clooney?
The Batman Beyond was such a great cartoon. Just give me that in live action. I mean, Michael Keaton would be my first choice.
Do you want to go with Val? You want to go with Val Kilmer in that piece or what?
I'd rather have George Clooney. Give George Clooney a second chance. It's not his fault. Arnold Schwarzenegger just derailed that whole movie.
Oh God, it's Mr. Freeze or whatever.
Yeah.
What about Jim Carrey as the Riddler? Holy fuck!
I love Batman Forever. That might be my I can't say it's my favorite, but I love Batman Forever. I so much that came out in the perfect time in my life. I was like
I've watched that.
Junior in high school.
Yeah.
That movie was perfect. Everything between the superhero burger at McDonald's. Man, that was just a great time in life. I love Batman Forever. I don't care how good or bad it is. And it definitely has some terrible moments, but man, that's my guilty pleasure DC movie, man.
Well, either way, now Cyber and I still have to react to this, and we will eventually. But I'm gonna go ahead and play the Flash trailer that just came out and whatnot, and we can enjoy that real quick, and then we can talk about it. That's Supergirl?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's who that is. Okay. All right. What do you go ahead?
Wish
Go
Ezra Miller
first.
wasn't such a fuck up.
But that's not the same Supergirl that movie got canceled.
He looked like he wanted to bang his other self or whatever.
Jeff, you would too.
Oh, whatever. Nah, man. I'm not down like that. Mear, so
Hey,
what
let
are
me
your
just
thoughts?
throw this out here. I don't know that there's a movie I'm more excited about right now than that movie.
Well, I mean, Willow season 2 is way up there on my list, man.
Well, that's not a movie.
Well,
But I am really looking forward to this movie. It looks so good. I had super high expectations, and that trailer just like hit all those expectations. So I'm really excited about this.
I don't really see how you can fuck up Flashpoint. Right?
Well,
I mean,
Ezra Miller's a good way to start. But
yeah.
Right.
they should have just
There's,
recast him with Justin Long. No one would even notice.
Mear, go ahead. What are your thoughts on the trailer?
I'm pretty excited for it, man. The only thing that sucks is I know those characters aren't fucking going anywhere. This is it. Like they're gonna this huge movie supposed to set up all this stuff, and everybody in that movie except for Kara. Still on.
Yeah.
Flashed. So, Affleck's Batman and Ezra's Flash and yeah. I don't know what they're doing. They mentioned Clark. So I don't know. Because he was in the movie and they took him out. I don't know how many revisions and changes they made to this movie during all this bullshit, the last 3 years, whatever the fuck it was. But I hope it's cohesive and it's good. And they utilize Keaton because he's a fantastic actor. I hope it's not all just CGI Batman fighting and he pops in to say I'm Batman and say some other smart ass thing and that's it. You know what I mean? So they could easily fuck it up. We've seen them do it before. But I really hope it's just a really good movie.
I really like Affleck as Batman. I really do.
I do too.
Me too.
I'm sad that this is probably the last we'll see of him.
It will be. It will
Yeah.
be. Cyber, trying to conserve your words because we have to react to this ourselves. What do you think of the trailer? And what was it nice to see Michael Keaton finally, dropping the Batman thing and all that?
This trailer is perfection. Seeing all those characters was phenomenal. Can't wait to see this. Gunn has said that he's seen it already, and he says that this is the best he's seen out of DC in a long time. He rates it up there with Man of Steel, Snyder Cut, Justice League, the first Shazam film. And even all the test screenings have been super positive. Everyone coming out of it says that they are really impressed with what it is. And with it being in development hell for so many years, that's one of the things, kind of like what happened with New Mutants, where that was in development hell for 3 years before it got released. And this apparently does not have that problem. It actually is cohesive. They took their time. They got it right. And plus the fact that Andy Muschietti, who did the 2 It films, he really made sure to edit it just right too. He did not want any of it to be improperly done. And so even when they did make them do reshoots, he made sure that they ran cohesively as he was reshooting them. So one good thing was that a lot of the people that were a part of this film worked really hard to make sure that it is a solidly done film. And so all the positive reviews have been fantastic for it. So I think it's going to be a dynamite.
DC has to be just upside down like mad with this movie, don't they? There's no way they're planning on making their money back for this fucking thing.
Oh no,
they've had to do so many shoots and edits, and it's been languishing so long. It either has to generate interest so they can continue, or they would have just fucking scrapped it. Because if they're dumping the whole timeline anyway, I see they're using this as a way to restart everything, but it just seems odd to use. I mean, this was supposed to be part of the Snyderverse, and they had to use it. Like, we have to use this. Figure out a way to use it.
Well, you tell me, Gunnar. With the Flashpoint film, I mean, look, again, I'm not even a massive DCU fan, but I know enough to know, right, that this is a big event. You know, like I read enough and whatnot and everything, and watched enough breakdown videos and whatnot. When I read the story, I watched the animated movie, right? Like I get it. Like, you know, that well, if it's done correctly, this could be like a really massive film. That's a great trailer. Now, honestly, as a side note, Gunnar, did you catch the fucking the new Fast and the Furious trailer? Man, that fucking thing is banging.
I've never seen a Fast and the Furious movie, not one. I don't plan on starting now.
You'll be fine.
Yeah, I think I can live my whole life without seeing them.
Well, I don't watch them either, but I'll tell you what, that trailer, the trailer for the new one is really fucking good. I gotta tell you. But no, so when it boils down to it, Gunnar, because of the fucking how sloppy and fucked up everything is over at DC, right? They almost have no choice but to kind of just rock it with things like fucking Shazam 2, right? And fucking Aquaman 2 and whatnot and everything, even though like it doesn't even, it contradicts what they're trying to do right now, right?
You know, they should have released Flashpoint last just so it can reset the DCU, kind of how Flashpoint, the comic, reset the whole, you know, New 52. Which, again, it's just going to make Aquaman and Shazam 2 a little less meaningful because, like you guys said, we know that there's no coming back from this. You can kill Aquaman and it's going to have no effect on anything because we know that we're not getting another Aquaman movie, at least not this Aquaman. It's kind of like when Kevin Smith and Walt Flanagan did Winding Gyre. They told him, they're like, this is not part of the New 52. So do whatever you want. Kill off anyone you want because nothing is happening after your run. So it's kind of going to be the same thing where there's no real risk. Anyone could die in those two movies. Unfortunately, those aren't the kind of movies that they would kill any of those characters. I don't see Aquaman or Shazam dying in these movies. So, you know.
What if they turn it into Elseworlds series where they can, if they're popular enough? I don't see Shazam being popular. I think Aquaman has potential.
Well, then
they can spin off of their own universe and
give us Zack Snyder's final Justice League movie. If they're gonna do that.
Yeah, they'll never do it.
No, but Cyber, doesn't it basically fuck up if they're really trying to go with like an MCU type like model? Doesn't like stuff like having Aquaman 2 and whatnot and everything, right? And Shazam 2, doesn't it kind of fuck that up? Because you can't interject characters from the new DCU into those films. You can't do that because they're in their own universes. They're not even a part of the DCU now, right? So, do you see what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying, but at the same time, look what they did with No Way Home and Marvel. They brought Sony Universe Spider-Man into the Marvel Sony Universe Spider-Man. So they could do it. That's what Gunn said in the video. He said that Flashpoint, aka the Flash film, is the restart of their MCU or their DCU. So hence, that's why it's coming out in June. That's why they're having Shazam first, then Aquaman after, is because those two characters are, because they're going to be in Elseworlds, as like we keep talking about. That doesn't matter at that point because the Flash film is supposed to reset everything, and that's what Gunn said in the video, is that the Flash is the big film for this slate because that's what's going to reset them to start their DCU slot and their slate. So God and Monsters starts with the Flash film. So that really doesn't matter that they're showing these. That's why they're doing it still too, is because the Flash is going to reset it all for them because they are doing the Flashpoint paradox. Hence why they have that one Supergirl popping into it. That's why they have all the different Batmans popping in it, because these characters, even though they're going to be other universes, just like Gunn said in the video, he said Shazam's in his own area, Aquaman is his own area. These universes are all going to kind of disappear to start off a clean slate for their universe. And so all those do not connect completely to their universe, but they have the option of bringing them back to put them into their universe if they want to. Is pretty much how the Flash film, that's why it's the central point there, and that's what they're doing.
Okay. So what do you think, Mear? Is this thing going to pull? Are they going to be able to pull this thing off? Is Gunn going to be able to rock this thing out? Is he going to come through strong and fucking handle his business, or what?
Well, we've seen Gunn can handle like one movie and make it really great. I don't know how he is handling 4 different movies and TV shows. He's trying to write everything, you know. Hopefully it works out great. I don't know. I mean, I like what he's done. It's anything's possible. You know, you can write Flash off. You can write Flash off and bring in Wally West and kill off Barry Allen and get rid of the Ezra Miller problem and still have whatever happens in that movie, you know. I hope it works, man. I hate seeing DC language in their own fucking stupidity. I want them to do well. You can't redo what Marvel did. You can't. You can have ideas from it, but that's something that's not going to happen for a long fucking time again. That big of an impact of a movie series. So they need to do, you know, like what they got the Elseworlds thing. That's a smart move. That's a way where you can keep stuff fresh without fucking with your continuity.
No, I agree with you 100%. I do. You know, Cyber. What do you think? I'm very optimistic with Gunn. You know, I mean, I'm optimistic in general, but like, I really do. I want to back him, and I hope that he is successful with all this stuff and whatnot. Now, we all know all this stuff's not going to work. They may probably are going to drop some of this stuff throughout. They're going to. I mean, you have to evolve and reconfigure things as you go, right? Of course, by 2025, 2026, 1 or 2 of these series or movies is probably going to end up getting dropped. They're going to go in a different direction. It's just like Marvel with Disney Plus series. When you have, you know, an actual TV series all of a sudden to use instead of movies, right? You're going to have characters and certain actors or actresses break out. And you've got to be able to react to that in real time. So what do you think, Cyber? You know, would you bet on Gunn to, like, pull this shit off? Like, you know, nobody's going to touch, like Mear already said, nobody's ever going to touch what Marvel Studios pulled off with Endgame, up to Endgame. It's never going to happen again.
Marvel they can't touch that.
No, they never will. No.
So my thoughts there is that I have high hopes for the DCU from this point on. Do I think Gunn's going to pull it off? I'm not sure, because there are pluses and minuses to Gunn. And he has good forethought, but at the same time, he doesn't always, everything he puts out, there's always a little bit that's not the greatest. And, you know, the Guardians of the Galaxy, yes, they are good films. They are, but there are some things in them that I think are just boring to an extent. And I feel that he's going to kind of bring that to some of the stuff that he's going to be directing himself. And I don't think that's going to be as entertaining as it could be. But at the same time, you know, I have high hopes for what he's going to bring to it, him and Safron, that they're going to do a good job. But at the same time, with how DC's record is, with how Warner Brothers' record is, it wouldn't shock me if it didn't do well. So I'm hoping for the best, but I am not going to be horrified if it doesn't work out as well as people think.
Okay, Gunnar?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if you want to look at James Gunn, just look where he started from Suicide Squad to Peacemaker. I mean, I know that was just a 1-2 thing, but I mean, you can kind of see where he was going. So hopefully that transitions to an overall, you know, arch. And I do agree, no one's going to reach what Marvel did. And I'm glad they tried to stop, because I felt like they were so far behind Marvel when they decided to kick off the DCU that it just failed miserably. And the first Suicide Squad, I watched it, and my only thought was, I feel like they just want to make Guardians of the Galaxy so much that they pick songs that were cut from Guardians of the Galaxy, like Spirit in the Sky. That song was originally in Guardians of the Galaxy, and they cut that scene. And somehow that just happened to get out, and they put that song in Suicide Squad. So the first Suicide Squad, I felt, was just them wanting to make their versions of Guardians of the Galaxy. And then when James Gunn came available, they decided, hey, we can finally make our Guardians of the Galaxy, and they hired him. So, Guardians of the Galaxy is very niche compared to the rest of Marvel. I'm more worried about how James Gunn will do with, The Brave and the Bold and Superman Legacy and stuff like that. Will he be able to keep it on that same level? I mean, you don't need to be so serious all the time. I thought Man of Steel. I love Man of Steel, but they tried to capitalize off the grittiness of the Dark Knight trilogy by making Man of Steel a much darker film. You don't have to do that. So how will Superman Legacy work out? Will it be that darker version? Will it be a more? I mean, that the '80s Superman was like the exact opposite of dark. So it'll be interesting to see how he does that. I've got faith in James Gunn, even outside of his Marvel stuff. He's done some really good stuff. So I'm really looking forward to it. And I hope his brother shows up. Because I like Sean Gunn. Put him in everything.
Nice.
Make him Jimmy Olsen.
Hey, you know what? Guardians 3 might be the last time we see him, to be honest with you. Sean
Gunn?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Unless they make another Guardians film, why would we see him again in the MCU?
Oh, in the MCU, yeah. I'm saying throw him in the DCU.
Oh, yeah, why not? Go ahead.
They did a crappy job with Jimmy Olsen in the DCEU, so Sean Gunn would be a great Jimmy Olsen. A little old, but...
No, I'm with you. I definitely.
He did a great job with Weasel, I thought.
So, I guess, it's sort of like a final question, I guess, and whatnot and everything, right? Starting with you, Cyber, do you think that basically there's that it could be actually beneficial for Marvel, for MCU, for Marvel Studios, and for certain characters like Ghost Rider, Punisher, right? Daredevil, for instance, right? To have Gunn over here doing these series where some of them are going to be R-rated, right? They are. Not all of them, but some of them are going to be R-rated. Now, I'm not saying that DC's competing with Marvel Studios, or they feel that they've got to fucking copy them or whatever and whatnot, right? But if Marvel Studios sees Gunn successful, having graphic shit like Daredevil Netflix series type violence and whatnot and everything, right? And adult type themes and whatnot and everything. Random titty shots, right? Like in fucking Suicide Squad, I mean, seriously, do you think that could actually impact or maybe be positive for those of us with me, my favorite comic book characters from Marvel always were like the dark characters, Wolverine, Ghost Rider, the Punisher, Blade, I like the darker characters. I always did. Cyber?
What was the question?
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
Anyways, Cyber, what I was asking you was, do you think it's possible that, considering the tone of the Suicide Squad film that Gunn directed and wrote and everything and whatnot, with the fact that we know that several of these movies and TV shows are going to be R-rated, not all of them are, but some of them are going to be, like the Waller one, I'm sure will be probably. Do you think that actually could be a positive thing for Marvel Studios and for MCU fans that care deeply, like I do, about the Punisher being done correctly, Ghost Rider done correctly, right? Daredevil being done correctly, especially if we saw Moon Knight and how that went down.
Is it going to be a positive having more R-rated things from a superhero standpoint?
Do you think that Marvel Studios could look at that, and if Gunn's successful with that type of motif or that type of dynamic or whatever and whatnot, mixing in shows like that are more adult themed, do you think that Marvel Studios may look at that and say, you know what, maybe that'll reinforce them more to want to be more comic book accurate with like some of the graphic violence and like the more adult themes with these characters like the Punisher or Ghost Rider?
See, that's a hard pill because there's a lot of factors that go into that. I mean, they are officially doing Deadpool 3 as R. They are officially doing that. Kevin Feige has said that. They're doing R-rated that. So, I mean, they already have, brought over the Netflix, Marvel series that are R and put them on Disney+. So, I mean, they're already going in that direction. Do I think that them doing more Rs in the DC universe is going to really give it an impact? Yes and no. Simply the fact that Marvel, unfortunately, is just so much bigger than DC and is just more successful than them. I don't think they're really going to see that as anything but maybe we could do that, but I don't know how much that's actually going to influence them to change their formula. But at the same time, I think that the fact that we're getting an R-rated Deadpool 3, that they're starting to release R-rated things on Disney Plus and stuff like that. I think Marvel already sees that as kind of like, oh, we need to start building more adult-oriented things. And I have a feeling that, we'll see more from Marvel in the DC-oriented things, more R-rated adult themes as time goes on. Just it's a slow process for them because they're so used to doing it a certain way. But overall, I don't think that's going to influence them at all. I think that influence is already there. Just they need more time to stew it and to build it up and actually implement it into their content.
Okay. Gunnar, what do you think? Is there any correlation at all with what I'm saying? Do you see there being any kind of impact at all with this? I guess I'm just kind of go ahead.
I don't think so. I think Marvel kind of is set in their ways, and I think they are gonna kind of. I mean, they didn't to begin with. I mean, if you think about it, before Iron Man, the Dark Knight movies were at the top of the world, the top of the comic book food chain.
Yeah, they were,
and they were dark and gritty. And I think Marvel could have just as easily made theirs dark and gritty, but instead they decided to go that other direction. And the biggest difference between the DC and the Marvel movies is, if you think about it, the majority, not all, the majority of the DC battles take place in a dark location, whereas the majority of the Marvel battles take place in a light location. And so, like, take it, for example, the airport in Civil War. I mean, that's the difference between Marvel and DC, is sum up in their end battles, where the majority of them is light versus dark. And I think that is kind of the mood that Marvel has. And I think no matter what DC does, I don't see Marvel changing it. Now, would they maybe one off? Yeah, but I don't think it'll have anything to do with DC. I think they might just go there because that's what's left to do,
Okay. Mear, do you have an opinion on this and whatnot and everything? Do you think there could be any influence at all?
Nah, Marvel doesn't give a fuck what DC does, dude.
Marvel or Disney?
Marvel doesn't give a fuck what DC does. They have no reason to.
Oh, no, you're right.
They've established, but it's not like there wasn't any heavy moments in Marvel movies. If they want, there's all through the series, there was levity, but they weren't all comedies. They weren't all Guardians of the Galaxy. So I don't know. I mean, it's like Cyber said, they've already brought the gory shit into their. They already did Daredevil. They already did Punisher, right? They already did Deadpool. So they know what works, and if they want to do it, they'll do it. They don't give a fuck what DC's doing. DC's going to be playing catch up to Marvel probably forever, as far as movies go. So I don't know. I think DC with you mentioned Superman being gritty when he's not a gritty character. That's true, but I think if you could add two completely different giant franchises with DC doing their thing, Marvel doing their thing, it would have been fine. But DC tried to chase Marvel because they're greedy fucking bastards, and it bit him in the ass, killed the whole thing. Do your own thing. That's how shit works.
No, that's fair, and I agree with you 100%. And I want to point out, folks, that on Sunday, 7/19, Cyberneticshark and I will be doing our Ant-Man 3 review at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on Sunday. I believe that Gunnar, you won't be on, of course, because we won't see you again for another 7 months, probably.
I did enjoy Ant-Man, so maybe I will try and come on. What? Hey, if I'm free, I'm happy to come on. It's just I've not been very free lately. So
hey, we have at least one open spot on the panel for the show. I can tell you that right now. We do. At this point, folks, I think we're going to go ahead and get out of here. We'll do some plugs. Mear, do you want me to pull up your YouTube channel really quick and whatnot, so you can kind of just just talk about the channel and whatnot, and all that?
That's up to you, man. Whatever you want to do.
Oh, of course, I'd be happy to. It's not a big deal, man. It only takes 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Because you are a legend. And look at when you search for him on YouTube, the first 3 things that say are Ryan Mear bandmate in some way.
Oh yeah. Favorite band in the world, dude.
I love it. I love it, folks.
Cool thing about streams, generous mods helps me out. He's been making instrumental band songs I've been jamming along and playing some of the vocal lines, but then just playing, using it as a backing track and playing along to it. It's fun to do.
There he is, folks. Look at that handsome guy. Hey, I gotta give you credit. I gotta give you credit for the consistency with your thumbnails.
Thank you. You know,
very simplistic, but very consistent.
It works.
No, I've never even looked before. Ryan, do you do shorts?
Not really. Not really.
Oh, okay, but you do some lives though, right? Oh no, okay.
Nope.
All right.
Really into doing live stuff on Twitch and this stuff that's mainly Japanese stuff, but I got there's periphery in there, direct, original music, some hip hop occasionally. I like to cover a lot of stuff.
Oh, there's Wave. I talked to Wave a while back, a couple weeks ago on Facebook.
Yeah, that's the one that me and him. It's one of my songs. He played drums on. I recorded everything else.
That's dope.
Yeah,
that is awesome.
Fun,
most definitely. Yeah, it looks like you've really been like I haven't paid attention to you that much except for your bandmate stuff lately, but I know I saw you done some Nemophilia and whatnot because I like Nemophilia too. You've reacted to some of the bandmate songs I haven't even listened to yet. Just because I'm trying to kind of like I'm savoring what I know the catalog already, I guess.
Yeah.
Great. But yeah, it looks like you've jammed out a lot of reaction videos lately, man. Like you've been getting after it.
Yeah. Lately I've been doing less. I do more live stream. I don't know how many, 50 or 60, whatever. But right now Thursdays at 6:30 I do a live stream where I cover. Sometimes it's reaction, playing music, bars and shit, and then our guy goes on the afternoon. There's my plug for my stuff.
There you go, folks. Now, Gunnar, my friend, for once, how do I actually pull up your Lost podcast, for instance?
Well, you know what? My stuff is all mixed in at the Wide Open Mic Podcast Network, wideopenmic.net. And if you go to shows, you got a couple shows that I'm part of on there. Including We Have to Go Back, which is our Lost Rewatch podcast. We are almost at the
We Have to Go Back?
finale. We Have to Go Back. That's it.
Okay. I'm getting it right now. I got it. Hey, I like this. It's pretty nice. I like the site.
Yeah.
Hey, not bad, Gunnar.
And you can catch Jeff on one of our episodes of Snap, our old Marvel show that we're going to be bringing back sometime this year.
Oh, that's great. You and Chris are going to get back together?
We're either with Chris or with someone else, or maybe bringing a bunch of people, but we'll be back sometime this year.
Well, there you go. And Gunnar, it was really great to have you back on the show, man.
Yeah, man, I miss you guys. Cyber is good seeing you again, buddy.
I think we've all missed you, brother. Renee's missed you a lot.
Totally.
Yeah, I've been coaching, so I coach youth sports. Ryan.
That's right. Look, Mear didn't even fucking know you when he missed you. Hey, you know what?
This is the first time I actually didn't put on my camera.
No,
So.
and you're more attractive now.
I know. I drove and recorded. I don't know if that's against the law or not.
You might get laid more like this.
Well, I'm married, so probably not.
Just with a black screen or whatever. But yes, I know you're married, sir, and you're very faithful. Right? But except for She-Hulk. But Cyber, my friend, have we had any major? Oh, okay, we're at 557 subscribers. Cyber, we're gonna have to put up. We're gonna have to put up like a tracking number, like a counter, right?
A tracking number?
Yeah, like we're gonna have to put up like a you know, something so that we can get you, like, to try to like encourage people to get you over 1,000.
Mm-hmm. Oh, like a countdown almost.
Maybe we should do one of those like call-a-thons or whatever and whatnot. Like you used to do back in the day, right? Where you fucking
Like
call
the Jerry
people.
Lewis, like the Jerry Lewis telethon.
Yeah, the Jerry Lewis shit to get you to 1,000 subscribers. Yeah.
You can do that, sir. I can see you doing that.
Yeah, you know what? I would actually enjoy that. So what's going on over at Cyberneticshark YouTube channel these days?
All right, so people, as like I always say on each show, we always, if you like me here on the YouTube channel of MCU's Bleeding Edge, definitely check out my solo content. As you can see there, I just uploaded my Dungeons & Dragons trailer reaction, and I just recently put up my Megan movie review. And Dungeons & Dragons looks amazing. I can't wait to see that when it comes out the end of next month. It's going to be so awesome. But I have that and that just released. In the next couple weeks or so, you'll see my Avatar 2 reaction. You'll be seeing my Ant-Man and Wasp Quantumanium reaction, or full movie review, I should say. My Flash reaction to the trailer.
Is Murder Mystery 2, is that Jennifer Aniston and fucking what do you call it, Adam Sandler?
Yes, it's a sequel.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, it comes out in March as well on Netflix. And
wow.
Yeah, lots.
They're doing the 18th version of John Wick too.
Well, it's number 4. It's chapter 4, not 18th. But I would watch 18 if they did. Yeah, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, or Across the Spider-Verse is going to be fantastic when it comes out in June as well. If you haven't watched that trailer reaction, check it out, people.
How is that Hellraiser remake?
Crap.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I did not see how that was going to end up being any good. You know, I'm sorry, but like the original Hellraiser movies were some of the most scary fucking horror movies I ever watched when I was a kid. You know, they really fucked me up, man. I remember the 80s back in the day. I used to watch all that shit. My mom would take me to the rental store and shit. I would get like 5 Freddy movies and shit or whatever, or 5 Jason movies or 3 of them, and I get like fucking Hellraiser movies. And I just sit and watch them in the dark and be all scared as fucking shit as a kid. You know, Hellraiser was fucking scary, man. And then it got kind of funny and whatnot, but like the third one or whatever and whatnot was a little goofy. But Mear, sir, thank you for joining us tonight, man. It's hard to get a hold of you.
Yeah, man. Thanks for inviting me on.
Hey, you know what?
Yeah.
Listen, I am I'm the type where I won't pressure you or whatever to come on the show or whatever, or fuck with you or whatever, or hound you. I'll just check in here and there and whatnot, right? And if you know, whatever, I'll shoot you a link, you know, and just be like, hey, you want to come on? Come on.
Sure,
so,
man.
You know,
if I got time, I'm down.
Hey, I already know you're down, bro. You're cool as shit. So thank you for being on the Bleeding Edge, man.
These other guys just want to talk about Japanese music. Nobody wants to talk about movies. I like talking about movies too. So.
Hey, listen, look, we got The Mandalorian season 3 coming up. We've got Disney. We cover all the Disney Plus Marvel series. We're gonna do Secret Invasion. That's what I've been doing over here on the side. I'm buying the Secret Invasion t-shirts for the team, for the show right now. That's what I'm doing. It's a pain in the ass. I gotta put a new address in for every fucking purchase. It's a long process, but anyways, and then after that we got What If season 2, right? And then we got fucking we've got Loki season 2, which I think is gonna be awesome. And then of course we got the wonderful Ironheart probably to wrap up the year, which I can't wait for that. You know, what a climax!
Before you know it, Wonder Man starting shooting.
What? Oh, Gunnar! Oh my God! What a surprise that Gunnar came on and mentioned Wonder Man. Cyber.
Love Gunnar. Love Wonder Man.
Look at that.
Oh my God! He's even got the Wonder Man T-shirt on. Gunnar, are you fucking kidding me, bro? Come on now, bro.
Hell yeah! Hell yeah!
Come on now, dude. Mear, Gunnar's hero is literally his hero, man.
Wonder Man?
Yeah.
I'm excited, man. Finally getting his own show.
Did he wear we had like the black shirt with the red W and the sunglasses?
Yeah. The West Coast Avengers.
Yep,
Right
right
on.
there. There he is. There he is.
you go, man.
There you go.
Hey, at least it's not Plastic Man they're going to make a show about, you know?
I'm sure that'll
That
come
could be a
eventually.
great fucking movie, though, dude. That dude, if they stay true to that character.
Gunnar,
Insane freaking.
did they say who they're going to cast to play Wonder Man?
Yeah, it's the guy from Watchmen and Aquaman. I can't pronounce it. Yatidi Abdul, whatever.
I'll look it up.
Oh,
Yeah.
the guy that played Black Manta.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
That was an ambulance. Yeah, black guy. Yep.
Right
They're
on.
making
Okay.
black.
I mean, he's no Nathan Fillion, who is who I think everyone wanted. And going back to James
He's
Gunn,
perfect for every character, isn't he?
Yeah, but James Gunn had in a scene in Guardians 2, he had a movie poster in the background with Nathan Fillion as Wonder Man, because Wonder Man's an actor,
That's right.
stuntman, and
Yes.
he was in the He was in the background, so everyone was hoping he would be Wonder Man. Me at the forefront of that, but I'm just happy to see him on the big screen.
Well, hey, folks, we're going to get the fuck out of here. MCU's Bleeding Edge, YouTube channel and podcast. I ain't got nothing to plug except for we got next Wednesday, all right? Last of Us, I believe what, Cyber, episode 6?
Yep.
We've got 4 more episodes of The Last of Us to do. We do them every Wednesday at 9:35 p.m. Eastern. Next Friday, I believe, it's actually, Cyber, we haven't even talked about this Friday yet, so I'm not even sure what we're doing yet. No. But The Mandalorian Season 3 comes out right at the beginning of March, right?
March 1st.
March 1st. There you go. So we're going to be picking that right up in less than 2 weeks. We'll be doing Mandalorian. And I've got my Tusken Raider costume, right? So I'm going to be moderating every episode that I moderate as a fucking Tusken Raider, right?
Yep.
I am. I might need to get some accessories. I don't think they gave me goggles, unfortunately. I'm going to need goggles. Yeah, I have an alter ego of me on the show as a Tusken translator, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I take Phoenix Online University courses, right? So I can speak for the translate for the Sand people.
That's good. They need representation.
That's right.
Check out Duolingo.
That's right. You know, I mean, seriously. I mean, who gives a fuck about slavery? What about the Sand people? Right? I mean, seriously. But no, poor people that are jerking off with sand and everything. But no, folks, listen. Do us a favor. Do us a solid. Help us get up to 12,000 subscribers really quick and whatnot, because Cyber and I would really enjoy that. Please help Cyber hit the 750 mark on his subscribers, because that's closer to 1,000, right? And that's the target goal. And as we all know, once you hit that wonderful Mear, real quick, when you hit 1,000, did everything get a little bit easier for you?
Yeah, man, it's it's a good place to be. I don't know, easier. You just got to do what you're doing anyway. But
well,
there's algorithms and a bunch of shit I don't understand, and it seemed to work out. So,
well, I'll tell you right now.
Get there soon.
If 1,000 is your body count, you better have a fucking Bacta tank like I do. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a lot of hose to run through, and you ain't gonna walk away from that shit unscathed, bro. You feel me? So you gotta have a Bacta at that point. And thank you, Boba Fett, for hooking me up with that, brother. I appreciate you. During my time on Tatooine. But listen, folks, we love you very much. Like I said, Ant-Man 3 review Sunday this weekend, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Thank you, Ryan. Gunnar, we love you, brother.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
Cyberneticshark, I love you, brother. Peace, everybody. We'll see you next time.
See you guys.
Welcome to Forever, man. Let's go. Come on. It's forever. Don't surrender. Yeah. You know that this right here for